Myths and urban legends surround the world, including video games, and there have been many myths that have left people wondering, is this actually true? What's up, guys? Jimmy or Chaos. Welcome to 10 video game myths that you might have actually believed, and I want to give a big fat spoiler alert on this before we even get into it. You have been warned. So drop a like on the video, leave a comment on your favorite video game myth, and let's get into this.
10.
At number 10, in 1989, there was a game that was believed to have been developed by a Soviet company called Carvina Corporation. And it was believed, because there were so few copies of this game, that there really wasn't any official records saying who actually made it. The game in question is Kill Switch. It was a survival horror title where the player navigated through a coal mine, but upon finishing the game would delete itself from your hard drive. The legend of Kill Switch was made even stranger when a man named Yamamoto Ryuichi managed to get himself a copy of the game on eBay for over $700,000, and he announced he would do a full playthrough on his YouTube channel, but the only video he ever uploaded was footage of himself looking at his computer and weeping, which left people to wonder, what was the deal with this game? What was Kill Switch all about? Was it something so intense that it left this man crying in front of his computer?
9.
At number 9, we have what may quite possibly be the most popular video game myth of all time, and it revolves around Tomb Raider and Lara Croft. When the first Tomb Raider game was released, it seemed just about everyone wanted to see Lara Croft naked. There were seemingly hundreds of cheat codes that could actually make Lara drop all of her clothes, but they were all obviously fake. Now, since the release of the game, there have been seemingly hundreds of mods to get her naked, so yes, the quest to actually get Lara Croft naked in the video game is now available, but the myth that there was a cheat code in the original Tomb Raider to actually get this done is just that. It is a myth. What is it about people and wanting to take the clothes off of Lara Croft?
8.
Many people have taken a stab at the Final Fantasy series, and many believe that 7 and 8 are to be the best ones in the franchise. Due to the depth of the story and the sheer amount of time that it's been around, plenty of fan theories have popped up, but on all of them, one of them stands out above the rest. Now, in Final Fantasy VIII, one of the protagonists is named Squall, and at the end of Disc 1, that's right, there was more than one disc on this adventure, he is impaled by a shard of ice. But when you go on to Disc 2, this was back when some games were so big that they needed 2 discs, Squall is magically healed, and no one ever even so much as mentions that he died, yet he was impaled at the end of Disc 1. This has led fans to believe that the second half of Final Fantasy VIII is actually Squall's dream as he progresses into the afterlife, and that he truly is dead in the second half of the story, which would actually make sense since the second half of the game is much more fantasy heavy and dreamlike. Now, this one has never been busted either way, but it stands to date as one of the more popular video game myths of all time.
7.
At the number 7 spot, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is an incredibly fun, incredibly lighthearted adventure for the Nintendo Wii. I'm not going to lie, I was a big fan of it, but there's a certain aspect of it that has left many gamers scratching their heads and also maybe even a little hesitant to turn off the lights at night. That's right, to turn off the lights at night, being scared about a Mario game? When the player goes through the Shiverburn Galaxy, you can see 3 figures standing over you observing your every move. No matter where you go in the level, they're always watching you. Well, one gamer got a little curious as to what they were, and he did a little digging into the game's coding, and he found that the art for that level is called Beyond Hell Valley, which is not a normal name for a children's Mario title, and the figures in question are referred to in the game's code as Hell Valley trees. If you have never played Super Mario Galaxy, there is no level called Hell Valley, and these figures definitely do not look like trees. So what the hell is Hell Valley doing in the Mario game code?
6.
We all know and love the number 6 spot, Legend of Zelda, my personal favorite franchise of all time. The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is my favorite game of all time for the Super NES. And as legendary as this franchise is today, it also sparked huge controversy upon the release of the first game in 1986. Why, you may ask? Well, take a look at the map of the third dungeon. Looks a little familiar, right? After the game was released, parents were in an uproar and demanded that the game be pulled from sale and off the shelves. But if you look at the map and look at a Nazi swastika, you can see that the points are actually facing opposite directions. You may not know this, but a reversed swastika like the one in The Legend of Zelda is actually a symbol of peace in Hindu mythology. This did not stop parents from being in outrage upon the release of the game, and it definitely didn't stop fan theories about the game being a metaphor for a Nazi invasion.
5.
Now let's crack into the top 5. At number 5 is Portal, one of the greatest puzzle games of all time, and also home to some very entertaining AI personalities. If you've never played it, I highly suggest you give it a try. One of which is GLaDOS, who looks like a bunch of wires and metal at first glance, but if you look closer, she sort of looks like a human flipped upside down, which the developers have gone on record stating that was actually intentional. But what may not have been so intentional is the fact that GLaDOS doesn't look just like any human, but she looks strangely familiar to a bounding, gagged woman that is being held upside down. Now that may sound very specific, but look at these two images. Don't they look eerily similar? And to this date, people have questioned what were they thinking when they actually developed the character GLaDOS.
4.
Chances are sometime in your life you have heard about Pokemon, especially now since Pokemon Go is so popular. How could you have not? Well, Pokemon has definitely raised a lot of questions in the past, as once you get past the very simple premise of the classic handheld games, there are some very strange details, the most glaring of which is being, where the hell are all the adults? Almost all the trainers you encounter are kids, and there are seemingly never any adults around. Well, one very interesting fan theory or myth is that Pokemon actually takes place after a global war changed much of the world's lifestyle. In Pokemon Red and Blue, Surge even says, "My electric Pokemon saved me during the war, and you won't live long in combat," suggesting that there has recently been a war in the Pokemon universe. This has never been verified, but a lot of people think this to this day.
3.
Such a big title, so many myths out there, it garners the third spot as well. Speaking about Pokemon, next up is a very chilling story, once again involving Pokemon Red and Blue. Now, when these titles were released in 1996, they were hugely popular in the States, but not as nearly popular in Japan, due to a very strange and very disturbing rumor surrounding the game's soundtrack. When the game was released, there was a sudden increase in child suicide, specifically between the ages of 7 and 14, which was the target audience of this game. Naturally, this led to people pointing fingers at Pokemon for causing child suicide, but the bizarre details of the finger pointing is what gets this story on the list. People actually believed that it was okay to play the game until you reached Lavender Town, because the music accompanying the location would cause nausea and suicidal thoughts in children. This may sound ridiculous, but there was so much outrage around this soundtrack that it was actually changed before being released in America.
2.
At the number 2 spot, we have Fallout 3. It will go down in history as one of the best RPG adventure games of all time, but it will also go down in history for one of the strangest predictions of the future of all time. In this post-apocalyptic game, the player can pick up various radio signals which do everything from giving you advice to simply playing some entertaining music. But every once in a while, your radio will broadcast as a series of numbers, which you could technically rewrite into Morse code. Well, there is one series of broadcasted numbers in the game that, when translated into Morse code, give the players the exact date and hour of the Deepwater Horizon oil rig disaster. A disaster that hadn't happened yet. A disaster that would happen 2 years after the release of Fallout 3. Now, is this coincidence, or was somebody seeing into the future when they were actually developing the game? I will leave it up to you guys to decide.
1.
Finishing up our list today at number 1 is a terrifying tale of the haunted Majora's Mask cartridge. This story and the images and video proof that accompany it were discovered in a thread on 4chan in which an anonymous user had found an N64 cartridge of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask with the artwork sticker ripped off the cartridge, and in its place, Majora written on it in Sharpie. He started up the game and found a save file titled Bin. Even though he had never booted up the cartridge before, he ignored the save file and simply made a new game and started his adventure. But strangely enough, all of the NPCs would refer to him as Bin. After noticing this, he went back to the main menu and deleted the bin save file and started a new game once again. But then the game started acting out by playing music backwards and having a statue of a main character follow him wherever he went, which was not normal for the game. After backing out of the game and returning to the main menu once again, not only was the bin save file restored, but there was a second file titled Drowned. The Legend of the Haunted Majora's Mask cartridge has earned its place in internet history, and it's a perfect way to finish up this list for you guys today. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the journey down the path of video game myths. Let me know some of them that we missed that you think should have made it on this list. Let me know what top 10 you would like to see next, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.